Take a look at this. What you're seeing up there is the U.S. George Washington Bush aircraft carrier, the carrier strike group headed to Middle East to join in the blockade of Iran. Currently, there are reports that China is beginning to feel the pain from just this single day blockade. And according to reports, it says Iran is currently losing over $400 million every day because of that blockade, and that Iran cannot survive it for more than 2 weeks. The reason is because the oil that is being drilled from Iranian soil can only be stored. The storage capacity can only hold for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, they will have to shut down all the oil wells, which means Iran cannot hold for more than 2 weeks on that blockade. Now, what everybody is saying is that President Trump might have played Iran the worst game they never expected. As a matter of fact, while they were hoping the president would go after the Kag Island, the president actually used their own strategy against them. Now, this is the major problem right now. China is beginning to send a message to America and telling Iran to cry uncle. Now, there are reports that Xi of China has already told Iran to cry uncle. Now, what that means, I think cry uncle is an old American slang that means that you should surrender, you should give up, you should admit defeat so that this problem can be
called
solved.
Iran and told them to cry uncle. Now the Iranian oil blockade is probably the knockout punch. The Iranians are trying to outlast us. The longer the war goes on, the longer their regime can hold off a revolution. But their economy is experiencing a crippling depression. This blockade's costing the regime almost $400 million a day. That's $13 billion a month. Plus, the Iranians can only store oil for about 2 weeks before they have to start shutting off wells. The Iranians can't outlast us. The world's turning to us for energy. Over 120 empty oil tankers are on their way to the Gulf of America.
Now, you heard that, right? $400 million per day. Now, let's assume this thing lasts for just 1 month, $13 billion. The entire Iranian GDP is about $400 billion. So imagine losing $13 billion per month. Then imagine losing that amount in 1 year. They cannot even sustain this blockade for more than 1 week. They can't sustain it because at the end of the day, and there is a report that there will be another meeting that will be holding either in Geneva or in Islamabad again, maybe on Thursday. That's a report. It's not confirmed yet. That's next week Thursday also, or maybe this week towards the weekend also. So if this meeting holds again, I'm sure, because right now Iran has now proposed that, okay, since it's the nuclear that is the problem, we are going to be pausing the nuclear, we are going to be suspending the nuclear for 5 years. And Trump say, which one is 5 years? People are still not serious. If I say you should suspend, I'm coming to take the enriched uranium you have already. I'm taking it and I'll keep it, and the minimum we can give is 20 years. So Trump has said the minimum he can give them, the minimum of suspension he can give them is 20 years. I don't know why Trump is proposing a 20 years suspension and Iran is now countering that with 5 years proposals. If this happens, I'm very sure Iran will end up accepting that 20 years suspension, because at the end of the day, Iran need to rebuild. And if the US is agree to lift some sanctions on Iran, the reason why the sanctions have always been there is because of the nuclear program. So if the US decide to lift some of those sanctions, that means Iran will be able to rebuild their nation very fast. While the war was going on, Iran was still selling oil and making money. And considering the fact that price was higher, they were making more money. And now they are using the profit they've generated from this to rebuild their country from the damages of the war. But seeing that Iran is eager to develop, and now that they have more reasonable people in leadership, the truth is the Khamenei guy, the old guy there, wasn't that much reasonable. He wasn't that, he's too old to understand that development is necessary, economic development and the rest of that. So the people they have in power right now, the people that are in charge now, are more educated, are more exposed to development. And another good news for Iran is that the US has promised to also lift, release some of their frozen funds. The US has a lot of money that belongs to Iran that is frozen, and they have agreed to release some of them if the negotiation goes well. But you begin to wonder, why exactly is Iran bent on keeping the uranium or the nuclear bomb over developing their economy and their country? How can you be selling your oil to China at cheap rates Iran has the second best crude oil in the world after the United States. So why would you be selling it at cheap rates to China just because you want to have a nuclear bomb? What exactly has Pakistan done with the nuclear bomb they have right now? What exactly have they done with it? Is it to protect themselves from India or what? Like, what have they done with it? Have they been able to use it? They can't use it. So even the US that has 6,000 plus of this, Russia that has 6,000 plus, China that has over 100 plus, have they been able to use these things? No. So I know they want to have it as a deterrence, but deterrence to who? If not because Iran is busy sponsoring process everywhere in the Middle East, causing havoc, trying to always hold the world by the neck. Lebanon, right now, look at what they've turned Lebanon into. Israel has almost turned that country into a rubble because of Hezbollah, and this is still the responsibility of Iran. So you begin to wonder, what exactly do they benefit from all these things? Why do you spend a lot of money funding proxies that end up not returning any revenue to you? What exactly is the gain in this thing? Why don't you invest this money in your country and develop yourself like your neighbors? Look at Turkey, look at Saudi, look at Oman, look at Bahrain, look at Kuwait, look at UAE, look at these nations around Iran doing amazingly well, and Iran stands a better chance than all of them. Iran stands a better chance to even develop better than all of them. But what is happening to Iran? The country is in shambles. Currently UAE has the highest, one of the highest, or even the highest minimum wage in the world. And go to Iran, look at Iran.